Hey guys, I'm Saion Gupta and I'm 11 years old. I'm the founder of 10xkids.com, and if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And as you know, this is the MySQL Part-2. So in this, we are gonna learn about 3 chapters. We are gonna do 3 chapters. One is insert into, in which we will learn how to insert some stuff in a table. Last time we just learned, we're getting started with MySQL. We created a database. We created a table, but that table was empty. So now we will insert items into that table. We will bring items from a specific table or tables, and finally we are going to use we are going to do some filtering. Okay, and if I think we have time, then we'll just do order by also, because it is easy. Yeah, it is easy. So if we have time, we'll do order by also. Okay, so if you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do it. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, also do it, because I'm on this channel. I'm gonna teach stuff that most of the web developers don't know, and I'm also gonna teach that web developers know. Most of the web developers know, but the concepts are not clear. Some concepts are not clear, so I'm clearing concepts on this channel. I'm teaching some really cool stuff. I'm teaching some stuff that most of the web developers don't know. Okay, so to subscribe will be really helpful, and it will be helpful for me also, so please support the channel. So without any delay, let's get started. Dab. So first of all, we'll learn how to insert stuff like items, insert rows, insert some data in a table. Let's have a very quick recap. So when in MySQL get started, we installed the MySQL driver. I already had MySQL database installed, and then we created a connection with the database and queried the database. In creating a database, we created a database over here, and then we logged out if we were connected or not. And finally, in creating a table, we created a table. A table is basically where you store information and all, and in creating the table, we need to specify which columns we need to have. There's a varchar data type, like you have string, boolean, and all data types. In MySQL, there's a varchar data type, and name that we are giving over here is basically the field name, the column name that we want. So the first column name is name, and its type is varchar 255. Similarly, the second column name is address, and its data type is varchar 255. And that created a table for us. Then we learned about primary key. Primary key is basically a unique ID. You can say it is unique. Okay, for mostly IDs are primary keys, mostly, not always, mostly. We can just make a primary key by giving primary key over here, and we can give auto increment, so that whenever field is added, it will auto increment the primary key by 1, or right. And then we can give the data type, that is integer, that we have specified over here, and then we give the field name, that is ID. Okay, and if the table already exists, we learned about the alter table keyword, that basically adds columns in an already existing table. Now what we are gonna do, we are learning how to insert some data into that table that we have created. So to fill a table in MySQL, use the insert into statement. So it is very English like. I told you in my last video, it is very English type language. Okay, and it is very easy to memorize its commands. Okay, so we need to use the insert into statement to insert a record or data in the customers table or any table. So like last time we created a customers table, right? So last time we created a customers table, so we are gonna use the customers table only. And if you haven't seen that video, you have to, because it is a start. It is basically a start for this. Okay, this is coming after that. That is very important. If that doesn't happen, this will also be useless because you have not created a table till now. Okay, so how will you insert data, right? So do check that video out, it will be very helpful. So we'll just go to our code, to our node.js folder where we are writing all our code. And where is it? Yes, here it is. And we'll just open this with VS Code. So we are just gonna open it with VS Code. It is opening. It's opening, and yep, it has opened. So yep, so now it has opened, and as you can see, we had stopped last time on that alter table. That was the last example of, let's close this, that was the last example of the create table. Okay, so let's remove this, and now let's continue writing some code over here. Let's just revise what this code is doing. We are just importing the MySQL driver, then we are making a connection variable where we are just using the MySQL.create connection to create a connection. Okay, and in like that we need to pass an object. Right now nothing will happen. This is just a value in connection variable. Okay, so right now nothing will happen because we have just created a variable, but we are just called in it MySQL.create connection, and we are passing it object. First of all, we need to pass the host. Our host is localhost. We are running the application on localhost. Second, we need to pass the user. We need to give the user, and a user is root. So we are using the root user that comes by default with MySQL database. That is already built in. That is a already built-in user. And on Windows, its password is MySQL. Okay, so we gave password MySQL, but on Linux you can set the root's password yourself. Okay, so there's a difference between these two. And then finally we are giving the database, which database we are using for this application. We are using the MyFirstDB. Okay, so if we go on the terminal, and we are in the MySQL shell right now, and if we just write show databases, so it will just show us all the databases. And over here we see MyFirstDB is also created. Okay, so we are finding MyFirstDB, the database that we are using, in a MySQL shell. So that's cool. Okay, and then we are just doing on connection variable, we are just calling the connect method to really connect with the MySQL database. We have to pass it a callback function in which there's one argument error. If there's an error, it will just throw that error. If there's no error, it will move on and log out connected. Then we are creating a query. Over here we have given a SQL query that is just altering the table customers and adding a column in ID in it, and then it's just doing connection. It is just calling the query method, passing it the query, and having a callback function that is getting two things, error and result. If there's an error, it will throw an error, else it will come down and log out the result. So let's run this file just to see what we were getting last time. So we'll just it will not work right now because already there's a ID column. Okay, so it will throw an error because already there's a ID column in our table. So we'll just do node and MySQL.js, and it is giving us an error as expected because it is doing duplicate column name ID because already the ID column is created. Okay, so yep, just a second guys, just a second, I'm just taking a second. Sorry about that. There was just a disturbance outside. Sorry about that. So now, as we have revised, let's continue. So let's just make this small, and let's go back to over here, and we just need to change the SQL, the query that we are passing to this query function. What we need to do, we need to insert some data in our customers table. So what we'll do, we'll just remove this. We'll write here insert into, then we need to give the table name. So we want to insert data in the customers table. Okay, we want to give the name, address, and you must be thinking, why not ID? Because ID is an integer and it is auto incremented. So we don't need to give ID because it is auto incrementing. So it will be, whenever we add a record, the ID will automatically be 1. When we add another, it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So we don't need to give ID ourselves. Okay, so then name, address, and then basically we are saying insert into the customers table, give the name and address a value. So we are giving the name and address the values. So give the name and address the values of whatever there are in the brackets. So the name value will be first. So the name value, as we have given name over here first, we'll just experiment with this. So like the name we'll give like company incorporation, 10x coder kids, 10x coder kids, and we'll give a comma, and then finally we'll give the address, that is Shanti, New Delhi. Okay, and this was our query. So what is happening? So it is saying insert into the customers table, change the name and address columns, set the values of add in the name and address columns the values 10x for the kids and New Delhi. So now if we run this, we'll just first let's save this, and now we'll just run this node MySQL.js. So it is showing us the result. We got an OK packet, and there are a lot of things. First is field count, second is affected rows, third is insert ID, fourth is server status, warning count, message, protocol, change rows, and this does not mind right now. So now to see our table, we'll just see all our table data using select all from that customers. You will learn the statement afterwards, but to see the table data, we'll just do this. Error table MySQL dot customers does not exist. What happened over here? Oh, so first we need to use the database MyFirstDB. So first we need to use this database, and then we have to give select all from customers. So you see over here, the ID is 1. It is because of that auto increment that we gave last time. Then the address is New Delhi, and then finally the name is 10x for the kids. So the name is 10x for the kids because we give here name first, so we have to give over here also the name first. If here the address is second, so the real address value should also be, the addresses value that we want to add should also be second. For example, I change the order over here. And give name, and like that I'll change this order also. but instead of 10 for the kids, I'll just give Saion Gupta, and then I'll just control C to come out of this, and I'll run this once again, and now you'll see, I'll just show this, so you'll see, oh, I didn't save, sorry, and now we'll see that Saion Gupta is coming first because we gave address over here, so the address should be first. Whatever value we'll give, that will go in the address because address is given over here first. So we have given New Delhi, so it has gone into the address section, and then the name is second, so whatever value we give second will go into the name column. So we have given Saion Gupta, so it has gone into the name column, and we don't need to worry about the ID as it is auto incrementing. As it is auto incrementing, we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so let's continue. We have now learned how to insert data into a table. So now save the code above in a file called this and run the file, which will give you the result this. So now we have learned how to add one record. What if you want to add a lot of records, like a lot of records together? So like you want to add a lot of records together. So that's how now we'll learn how to do that. So insert multiple records. To insert more than one record, make an array containing the values and insert a question mark in the SQL, which will be replaced by the value array. So what you have to do over here, it is saying the values that you want to add, the records, save them in an array. So like these values, just copy these values because it will take a lot of time to write all these. So just do it under here, over here. So we have just copied and pasted the values. So we have the values array where in which we have all the values that we want to add to our database, and then over here in the SQL, we'll do insert into customers. Let's change the order. And then just give name, address, and instead of giving directly the values over here, we'll just add a question mark. Okay, so after adding the question mark, it will tell us what to do, and then we just need to give the values. Okay, so we just need to give the values over here. Okay, so the values are given over here like this. Okay, so here we had an array of values, and then we gave the values over here. And now just save this. So why have we given these this in an array? Because this is already an array. So why have we given this in an array? Because now we can add different sets of values. So like here we have a array of values. We can add another array of values over here. Okay, so that we don't want to, but that's why we are giving another we are adding it in an array. Okay, so now we'll just save this. I'm just repeating, we are giving these brackets, the array brackets, we are just passing it an array of arrays, because over here now we can add more collections of values. So for example, you have another variable in which there are a bunch of values that you want to add, then you can just comma over here and that another variable. Okay, so that's why we are giving this bracket over here. Now we'll just save this and just run the file, And now you see it has given us an OK packet. Field count 0, affected rows 14, so it has added 14 rows. Insert ID 4, so it has started adding from the ID 4. And the server status is 2. Maybe that's okay, showing that the server status is okay. Then the warning count is 0. We have 0 warnings. It is showing records 14, duplicate 0, warning 0. That's cool. Protocol 41 true. I don't know exactly what that is. Change row 0, so we don't change any rows. Now if we just check our database, all our items are added. Like there are 17 items because 3 we added ourselves, and then this whole set of items, array of items we added. So this is quite cool. We have just learned how to add multiple items in one flash, right? So we just need to save the code above, and which will give us the result this. Now the result object. Now it is telling us about the result object. So we didn't take so much of interest in the result object, but now it is telling us what the result object is showing us. So when executing a query, a result object is returned that we are already showing out, printing out, logging out basically again and again. So the result object contains information about how the query affected the table. So the result object has the information about how the query that we give is affecting the table. The result object returned from the example above looks like this. So this was how our result object looks. Field count, right? Affected rows, insert ID. It's 0 over here because he must have not added any of the items till now. Okay, he just have started from 0, but we have started from 4 because we added 3 ourselves. 3 IDs were there, 1 to 3, and we were starting from the 4th ID, adding these all from the 4th ID. Then the server status 2, same here. Warning count 0, right? Messages records 14, duplicate 0, warning 0. Protocol 41 true, same here. And change rows 0, same over here. The values of the properties can be displayed like this. Return the number of affected rows. So to show the values, it's very easy to show the values. Show the values of whatever of any of these over here, or you can just log out the whole result object, or what you can do, you can just access one of the things that matters you the most and just show it out instead of showing the whole object. So how you can do that? Just access the result and whatever property you want to access. So like if I want the affected rows, how many rows were affected from my query, then I can just do result.affected rows. So result is an object and its property affected rows. And now okay, we are just gonna add another set of 14 values, just another 14 rows now, just for this small experiment. So let's do it. And now you see it is showing us 14 because the value is 14. The affected rows are 14. And now over here there will be 31 rows because we have just added the whole values, the same values once again. Not so cool. Okay, so fun. Now we are on get inserted ID. So for tables with an auto increment ID field, you can get the ID of the row you just inserted by asking the result object. To be able to get the insert ID, only one row can be inserted. So if you want that insert ID, that auto increment field, its value you want, then what you can do, you just there's a property of the result object that has the ID. That is the insert ID property. Okay, but for that you need to just add one single item. You can't add a lot of items. Okay, so we'll just Control Z this, add a single item. Okay. So this will be a single item, right? So we are adding a single item, and then what we can do, we can just show the insert, and where is it? Yeah, insert ID. So insert ID, and now wherever we insert this, its ID will come, that auto increment thing that we added, right? That auto increment, this that was auto incrementing and was a primary key that we added in the last tutorial. So now if we add this record, it is giving us the ID of 32, and this must 10 for the kids and all must have been added on ID 32. Yup, so it is showing us the correct thing. This is also very useful, like, yeah, it is very useful. So we have done this chapter, we are on the select from chapter. So now what we are gonna learn, you must have seen me write this select all from customer statement. Now this statement brings data from a table. We were just adding the data over here, okay? But I didn't tell you about this statement. You saw it, but I didn't explain you about this statement. This statement, what it does, it brings all the data from a table. Select all from customers. Okay, then you must be thinking, if you want a single item, then if you want an item on the specific criteria, then so that there's a solution for that also. There's a where keyword that is used for filtering on different criteria. So like you can do where the name is 10x for the kids, where the name is John. Okay, so we'll learn all about this in the next 2 chapters that we are covering in this video. So select from a table. So to select data from a table in MySQL, use the select statement. So as we learned the insert into, we just have to use the select from. To select data from a table, we need to use the select statement. So select all records from the customers table. So you can select all records from the customers table and display the result object. So what you can do in the query over here, in the SQL query over here, you just remove this, and we can just give select all from customers. And what this will do, it will bring all the fields from customers table, and over here we can just show the result, that whatever result comes, just show it. And now if we run this, you see it is bringing us everything, the whole thing that we were seeing over here, but just in a form of an array and objects. Okay, so it is bringing it like this. It is giving name 10 for kids, address New Delhi, ID 1, name 10 for kids, address New Delhi, ID 2, name Saion Gupta, address New Delhi, ID 3, and so on. So it is giving us the whole table stuff, whatever there is in the table data, everything is being displayed over here, the whole table data. So now we have learned how to access table data also, guys. We are moving on quite quickly. Select all will return all columns. So it is basically returning all the columns. Save the code above, and just it will give you the result of all the columns in that table. So selecting columns, right? Selecting columns. If you want to select only specific columns, then what? For example, we don't want the address column, we don't want the name column, or we don't want the ID column. Then what? So to select only some of the columns in a table, use select statement followed by the column name. So to select only specific column, just use the select statement followed by the column name. If you want to select two or more of those, like you have 5 columns, you want to select 2 of those, then you can give select the first column name, comma, second column name, and from the table name. Okay, so I'll just show you. For example, I want to access the name and address. So over here, instead of this all, this is basically representing all the columns. So instead of all, we can just give over here select name, then we want to access address also, so you'll just give a comma and then the address, the column name, and this will basically bring us these two columns datas only, not the ID part. Okay, so we'll just save this and we'll just run this. So it will bring us all the data, but only the name and the address, as we specified which columns we wanted. Okay, and then over here there's a fields also. I just noticed it right now. We get a fields also. So let's see what fields will show us. Oh, here also we were getting fields, right? But never mind, we'll just show fields over here only. So we'll just save this and run this. So fields is bringing us like so it is bringing us first of all about the database, table, org table name, org name, and they are just 2 field packets. Okay, so we don't need to focus about fields because we can't understand right now. Okay, but we will get to know about them later. Okay, so this will give us the result of name and address only, as we saw right now. Now we are gonna learn about the result object as we did in our previous chapter, but this result object is quite different. So as you can see from the result of an example above, the result object is an array containing each row as an object. So the result object is basically an array containing each row that was like this as a column, as an object. So sorry, why did I say column? As an object. So to return, for example, the address of the third record. So you want to return the address of the third record, just refer to the third array object's address property. So first of all, to show the address of the third record, we'll do result 2 as it is 0 indexed. You must have known that, we have done JavaScript a lot. Okay, so result 2, and then we have accessed the object, and now we will just access the property name, that is the address. So we'll just give address. So guys, what will this give? You are correct, it will give us New Delhi as the third field's address is New Delhi. So if we just run this, it is giving us New Delhi as expected. So this is very, very good. But over here it is producing Apple ST652 because it didn't add the additional stuff that we added. Now we are gonna learn about the fields object. The fields object that we were not able to understand right now, but now we are gonna understand it very clearly. Okay, just add a fields over here, save this. So the third parameter of the callback function is an array containing information about each field in the result. So basically it is an array containing information about each field in the result. So select all records from the customers table and display the fields object. So just select the name and address column, okay, and then just show fields. So what will happen? Let's go up. So it is giving us information about 2 of those only, okay. So it is giving us the information about, oh, here there is more information. Oh, that was the older information. So it is giving us the information about 2 of those only, as there are a lot of fields, right? There are a lot of fields, that's why it is giving us the information about 2 of those only. But no worries, let's just see. Catalog is diff, DB is my first DB, table is customers, column is name. Ooh, the third array about each field in the result. Field is basically referring to the column, I think. Yeah, it is referring to the column. So it is giving us the information about that column. Like for example, the name column. So it will give us the information about that name column. For example, we have address column. So it is giving us the information about the address column. So it is not giving us the information of the ID column, maybe because it is a primary key, okay. So here we have name, organame is name, char set nr is 33, length 3765, type 253, flag 0, decimal 0, default undefined, 0 fill false, protocol 41 true, and similarly for address. So this is not so important right now, and this is just for sometimes for debugging purposes, sometimes for, I just don't see a lot of use of this, okay. So it is useful when you want to information about a specific column, okay. So we can just save the code above and we'll get this result. As you can see from the result of the example above, the fields object is an array containing information about each field as an object. To return the name of the second field, just refer to the second array's items name property. So if we want the name of the second field, or we can say the second column, we can we can log out fields second, we'll refer as 1, and then its name property, just display its name property, and now we'll get it. It is address. So the second field is address. That's quite cool. So we have done this chapter also, and finally we are on the where chapter that will filter us on a specific criteria. I'll just come in a second, just having a little bit of water. Water is not present in this room. Let me see. Oh, water is not present over here, so I'll just bring water for me, just like half a minute. You can also have a break till then. So here I am back. So let's do some filtering also. Okay, so we'll go back over here and select with a filter. So when selecting records from a table, so when you're selecting records from a table, you can filter the selection by using the where statement. So you can filter the selection by using a where table. So like for example, where the address is New Delhi, like you want the results where the address is only New Delhi, then you can just filter on it. So select records with the address Park Lane 38, but we'll just select records with the address New Delhi. Okay, so select all from customers where address equals Park Lane 38. So this is very easy. So we'll just give select all from customers wherever we find wherever we find the address as New Delhi. Okay, so what it is doing, it is just saying select all from customers wherever the address we find New Delhi. Just save it and we'll run it, and instead of fields dot name we'll just show the result object. Save this and then run this. So you see over here in this result we are getting 4 things. Okay, 10 for the kids, 10 for the kids, Saion Gupta, 10 for the kids, and all of these addresses are New Delhi, but IDs are different, right? So very interesting stuff. So we can just do this and find like now we are on wildcard characters. You can also select the records that starts, includes or ends with a given letter or phrase. Use the percentage wildcard to represent 0, 1 or multiple characters. Select records where the address starts with the letter S. So we will select records wherever the address selects with the letter N. Okay, so you see over here what is happening, if we give the wildcard over here, then it will do that select all the records where the address ends with the letter N. If we give it over here, then it will say select all the records where the address starts with N. And like if we give it like, and we'll just give percentage over here, so it will say that select all the records where the address starts from N and ends at I. Okay, so let's just do this over here. Select all the records where the address starts from N. We'll just save it and run this, and it is showing us nothing. Why? Okay, so it is because instead of equals to, when we are using wildcards, we need to give like. Okay, we need to give like. Okay, so this is its syntax, and you see now we have the records whose ever address starts with N. Now let's see, move on. Now here he has come to escaping, but we'll just experiment with this. Like if I give I over here, then it will just give a percentage over here, and it is saying select all the objects whose address end with I. So now we'll just save this, run it, and we are getting this. Okay, so all of these addresses end with I, and then finally we are giving this. So it is saying over here select all the objects where the address starts with N and ends with I. So let's see. So same, we have New Delhi starting from N and ending at I over here in all these 4 objects. So now we are on escaping query values. So when query values are variables provided by the user, you should escape the values. So when these values, for example, a user has provided you, like the user is querying for something that he wants the users that live, a user wants some users that live in a particular area or a particular address, and the user enters that information. Then you want to filter on that address. So like we have to do select all from customers where address is equals to whatever the user has entered. Okay, so for that we need to use need to do escaping query values. We have to escape the query values for that. This is to prevent SQL injections, which is a common web hacking technique to destroy or misuse your database. This will basically if the user enters some malicious thing, some malicious characters and all, then that escaping query values escape method will just identify it, and it will not allow any web hacking and all. Okay, so this MySQL module has method to escape query values. Okay, so it will just escape query values. So escape query values by using the MySQL.escape method. So we need to use MySQL.escape method. So we'll just do where address is equals to, and then we'll just concatenate MySQL.escape, and over here we'll give the variable name, for example adder, and then we'll just create a variable adder whose value equals New Delhi. Save this and we'll run this. So now it is giving us all these, because it is just doing select all from customers where address equals adder. Adder's value is New Delhi, so it is just doing select all from customers where address equals New Delhi. Quite easy. You can also use a question mark as a placeholder for the values you want to escape. So there's another option, that is a question mark. Okay, so you can use it as a placeholder for the values you want to escape. In this case, the variable is sent as the second parameter in the query method. So in this case, the variable is sent as the second parameter in the query method. So when we do adder wes is equals to, and the user has given any value, then we'll just remove this, add a question mark, and for giving the value we'll just give it over here as the second parameter, and over here we'll just write the variable name. And I told you about the use of these brackets. We can add more variables on which we can just search. Okay, that's the use of those brackets. Now if we run this, it should work. It is working, right? Because it is the same thing but in a different way. Sorry about that. And then if you have multiple placeholders, the array contains multiple values in that order. Okay, so when you have multiple placeholders, just give multiple values in that order. So like if we have a name also, we need a name also, where like name, we'll create a name variable whose value is 10x coder kids, and over here we'll do where name equals question mark and address equals question mark, and over here adder. First we'll give name, because over here we have given name question mark first, and then we'll give the address. Now we'll save this, so only 3 records will come that have the name, 10 for the kids, and the address of New Delhi. So this was the where chapter also. So thank you guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you guys, bye, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Dab. Bye guys.